Have you ever been to a concert or a sporting event where your tickets were so far back that you could barely see what was happening down in front? Well, one of my favorite concerts I ever went to was Earth, Wind, and Fire here in Las Vegas. And my we bought our tickets the same day as the concert. So our seats were in the nosebleed section. And when we got there, I thought, wow, I could barely see the stage. So when they decided to go grab a beer before the concert started, the concession line was so long, I decided to take a walk. And I literally just walked my way all the way down from the third level of the MGM Grand, all the way down to the front of the stage, where I thought, wow, the view down here is so much better. So there was a guy standing next to the stage, and I simply got out of my comfort zone and I engaged him in conversation. I said, "Excuse me, what time does this concert start?" Because I thought it was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. He said, "Well, it's supposed to start at 10, but technically my Uncle Phil isn't scheduled to be out on stage till 10:15." And I thought, Phil, as in Philip Bailey, the lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire, that's your uncle? He said, "Yeah, why? Are you in the business?" I said, "No, I'm a motivational speaker." And he's like, "Can you motivate me?" And I said, "Of course." So I started to give like my favorite old Zig Ziglar lines, like "Any day above ground is a good day." And I talked about how important it is to be fully engaged and having a vision and setting goals. And he interrupted me. He said, "Wow, you are really good, but I got to go take my seat." And I said, "Well, where are you sitting?" He said, "Down in front." "Where are you sitting?" And I said, "Well, you see that nosebleed section? I'm here with a couple of girlfriends and we're up there." He said, "Wait right here." And he runs backstage and he comes back with three all access badges. And he invited me and my girlfriends to come use those badges to sit down in front. He said, especially if there are empty seats in the front row, the band hates it when there are empty seats up front. And then he said, "And meet me right here after the show, and I will take you backstage and introduce you to my uncle and the rest of the band." So I went running up to my girlfriends and they said, where have you been? These people tried to steal our seats. And I said, "Well, they can have them because we are going to the front row." And they're like, "How did you do it this time?" And it made me think about my front row philosophy that I live by. We are all in one big venue of life, and we have choices as to where we sit in this venue. You could be sitting in the balcony, otherwise known as the nosebleed section, or you could be meandering around in general admission, and that is your comfort zone where things aren't bad, but they're not great. And then there's the front row, and the front row is where you are fully engaged, you are living your life to the fullest, and you can say without a shadow of doubt that it doesn't get any better than this. And I noticed that a lot of people, they take their seat and don't like their seat. They don't like the view from their seat. They don't like how their seat feels. They don't like the people in the row of their seat. And they don't do anything about it except complain. And I'm not talking literal about a concert seat or a sporting event. I'm talking about life. And so I encourage you today on this Front Row Friday to take a look at where you are sitting. And if you are not happy with any of these seats that you have in your life, like your work chair, your relationship chair, your health chair, if there's any part of your life that you are dissatisfied with, maybe you've chosen to be in the balcony with that seat. Or maybe you're struggling a little bit and you're in general admission and you found yourself in kind of this comfort zone and accepted that, well, this is just the way I am, or this is just my lot in life. Well, I challenge you to stop and think bigger. Imagine that you are living your life in the front row. What does that look like for you? Define it for yourself. And then ask yourself, what would it take for me to move closer to the front row of my own life? And choose that next action step. Because if you don't like where you're sitting, you have a couple of choices. You either get up and move to a new seat, or you shift your perspective about the seat that you're in. So I hope on this day that you choose to move closer to the front row of your life, however you define it for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.